The $35 billion eye care market within North America is one of the few remaining industries where the private retailer holds a majority ownership and market share. Today we're talking about a company that's poised to take a large percentage of that market share going forward. We're talking about Kits.com. Kits.com has seen aggressive revenue growth from 2019 to 2020, growing at over 50% of an annualized rate. They were able to grow over 60% in the most recent quarter from Q4 2020 to Q1 of 2021. The company is led by Roger Hardy, who previously sold his company Clearly Contacts to Essilor for over $400 million. Online eye care retailer had the opportunity to go public in January of 2021 with net proceeds of over $55 million. They recently started trading on the OTC markets here in May timeframe. Company is currently valued at just under $180 million US. Share price on the US side is just under $7, with analysts forecasting it could be anywhere between $12 to $15 within the next 12 months. Let's hop right into the computer and talk about Kits.com. All right, everybody's taking a quick look at the US ticker here. For Kits Eye Care, we have KTYCF, just started trading in the April-May timeframe here on the US markets. Current share price about $6 or so. Current market cap just over $180 million. Founders own about 70% of the shares outstanding, so keep that in mind when you're thinking about, is management aligned with your best interest at heart? And I would say in that respect, 70% owner management is pretty impressive, to say the least. So touching a little bit about the actual company itself, as we mentioned in the introduction of this video, it is an online eye care retailer looking at selling glasses and contacts direct to consumer. One of the cool things is that the subscription-based side of the business, which is continuing to grow at a pretty rapid pace. We'll touch a little bit about that on the actual investor presentation itself, but I think it's somewhere close to 25% of all the contacts that they sell are currently on a reoccurring subscription basis. So I think it's relatively interesting to look at all the different brands. They obviously have their own brands, as well as they sell the normal brands like AccuView, Alcon, and a bunch of others as well. Glasses, you have the opportunity to search by Ray-Ban, Oakley, Gucci, Tom Ford. Sunglasses, the same. Obviously just looking to streamline the eye care business, right? And basically get yourselves up to a pretty good way to shop online for eye care instead of having to go to, let's just say, a brick and mortar business. So we'll touch a little bit more about the metrics associated with that when we get to the investor presentation, but relatively good kind of looking at it from this perspective. $80 million run rate based off of 1Q 2021. If you were to annualize that number, they sold just over $20 million worth of merchandise. So looking at that going forward, 80% of that number is coming from the US side, with the remainder 20% coming from the Canadian side. So this is very North American focused in that respect. But taking a quick look at Kits at a glance, it's a category defining eye care company. Once in a generation market timing, I'll touch a little bit about the trend that you're gonna see that is gonna cause this company to continue to gain market share going forward. They currently have over 700,000 active customers, 62% repeat customer rate, and like we had mentioned, gone from $50 million in revenue in 2019 to over $75 million in revenue in 2020. So interesting in that respect, and going forward, you can see that it's a relatively large market, $35 billion for the category itself, and online e-commerce is just starting to take a small portion of that. Compared to other industries like footwear and clothing, its penetration is still in its infancy. Taking a quick look at the business overview, we'll cover a few things that I might have mentioned in the introduction, but we can reiterate to prove a point. The Kits team has a proven track record of executing in eye care technology consumer industries, which we've seen as they sold their previous business for over $400 million to Essilor. They're positioned to take a well-timed disruption into the Kits labeled offerings, focusing on a cheaper product when it comes to the price tag, but providing a similar product to what you can get at a brick and mortar. We touched a little bit on this as well. It's one of the remaining multi-billion-dollar categories that's currently dominated by small independent shops and not big box retailers, and is ripe for technological disruption. And it's focused on customer retention, delivering predictable cash flows going forward. And they recently just started selling glasses as well. Taking a quick look at the management team, it's led by Roger Hardy, who's the CEO. Led by Roger Hardy, who is the previous CEO of Clearly Contacts, which was sold to Essilor for over $400 million. We also have have Rob Long, who is also part of Coastal Contacts as well. And you also have Nick, who is a director currently for the company, who is also part of that deal going forward. Relating the Coastal Contacts deal to what we have here at KTS, you can see the comparison. Basically, back in 2004 timeframe, Coastal.com was selling about $31 million a year. 5 years later, they just started selling glasses, growing to a $140 million run rate, with 6% of that coming from glasses, and basically grew that to $218 million before they were acquired by SLR for over $400 million. KTS is in a similar trajectory with 50% revenue increases year over year from 2019 to 2020, and they just started selling glasses as well, basically trying to get their glasses sales to approximately 30% of total revenue going forward. And likelihood is that they'll end up getting acquired by SLR Luxottica, which is the largest retailer of eyewear in the world. One of the key things that they wanted to iterate in this is that the North American online optical sales are only 13%, comparatively to 36% in other industries like online apparel and footwear. One of the key things also to note on this slide is while KTS.com is focusing heavily on contact lenses, and that's been their primary part of the business so far, it's only $7.2 billion of the total eye care market within North America. And one of the other slides I want to touch on within this presentation talks about how glasses themselves are, generally speaking, twice the margin comparatively to contact lenses itself. So adding that additional piece to the business will allow them to increase margin, which will then increase EBITDA going forward. Two key pieces of information here: 24% of the 1Q orders were contact lenses that were on auto ship or auto renew on the subscription service, and they've already sold 40,000 pairs of glasses just in the last year alone. Knowing that they've only been selling glasses for just over a year, and the fact they were able to double sales going from 4Q20 to 1Q2021 is a pretty impressive feat. One of the great things about KTS is that they have a gigafactory and an optical lab that currently has capacity of 2,000 eyeglass pairs a day that they have the ability to ship, and they're scaling it currently to about 4,000 with the potential to go up to 10,000 in the future. Capability of filling 3,500 contact lens orders per day, and they have the ability to do next day shipping across North America, including Canada. Customer satisfaction rating of over 94% from over 100,000 people shows that KTS is doing the right thing here. They've seen a lot of customer-driven organic growth, obviously through word of mouth, a high customer satisfaction rating, the acceleration of online healthcare based off of what we've been seeing in the pandemic, and they have an extremely low cost of acquiring customers and a high retention rate, looking at about $40 to acquire a customer, $600 in terms of repeat business, and a 62% repeat business going forward. This slide just talks a little bit about the online vision tool that allows them to convert people to full-time customers, making sales, where approximately 43% of the people that use the tool are converted into actual orders themselves. One of the things to note is that the demographic that is most successful for KTS.com is the 25 to 34-year-old female category, controlling about 30% of that compared to the rest of the demographics. That being said, that particular demographic has the highest value customer in the entire category, and they generally speaking make over $75,000 a year, and they enjoy biking outdoors, skiing, and hiking. Going from 1Q 2020 to 1Q 2021, the revenue increased over 42%, going from just over $14 million to over $20 million in the most recent quarter. Gross profit also increasing from $4.3 million to $4.9 million. And the last slide I will touch on before I do a quick outro here is it's a U combination of large market, disruptive technology, moving to an online retailer, and a world-class team that has demonstrated they have the ability to scale a business like this in the past. And great things about the company: 42% year-over-year revenue growth, $75 million in terms of revenue in 2020, growing 50% from 2019, 80% US, 20% Canadian. And one of the key things that they're looking at, they have a proprietary platform, visionary, accomplished team, highly scalable operating model, reoccurring revenue streams. 25% of those orders for contacts are coming in for auto ship, and they have strong tailwinds as this market continues to lean towards glassware as well as moving towards online with the new environment. All right, everybody, thank you so much for allowing me to walk through the KTS.com investor presentation with you guys. If you are interested in checking out the company further, make sure to check it out on Google at KTYCF, on the over-the-counter markets. This started trading back in April timeframe. I think this company is well poised in an online eye care retailer space, poised for great growth in the online eye care retailer space. Great management, which has sold companies like this for over $400 million in the past. And man, growing revenue, 50% year over year from 2019 to 2020, 42% growing from Q1 of 2020 to Q1 of 2021. And they're just getting started in the eyeglass business with higher margins than the contact business. And man, 25% of folks ordering contacts are ordering on a renewal basis. I think it's a great opportunity to look at kits.com. Make sure to also check out their website if you are also interested in learning more about how they can provide eye care online for you. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Cheers.